Hello, this is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to Facebook Live, A Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles. And we're going to continue to talk about trust, and we're going to continue to talk about how you do trust and the right way to do trust and how you can tell when you shouldn't trust. You know, sometimes it's important to know when not to trust, there's when to trust, and especially when it comes to each other. I don't know about you, but there's actually been times in my life that I didn't trust. Like, look at y'all looking at me. Like, really? I guess y'all trusted in every situation and every person and every circumstance in your life too, right? Well, good. The Course says my teachers come to my classes, so I'm here to learn from you. I really am. I feel like part of awakening is being able to talk about your ego, which means being able to talk about what it is you think you are doing right, and what you know you'd like to do differently. So we're going to talk about that today. And if you have your Course in Miracles book, it's going to be lesson 181. I trust my brothers who are one with me. And the Course in Miracles says another term for brother is simply my equal. My equal. It's not talking about gender. It's not talking about gender. So we're going to start out with our theme song. Lesson 5 from A Course in Miracles. I am what?
Not a victim.
I'm not a victim, which is in lesson 5. But it's I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. You're not a victim. You are 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 not a victim. You're not a victim. That's your spiritual name, not a victim. It's your superhero name, not a victim. Not a victim. You are not a victim. Can it look like you are a victim? Can it sometimes feel like you are a victim? But the truth is, you're not a victim. So let's get started. Here we go. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. I'm not a victim of my fall. I'm not a victim of my fall. I'm not a victim of even circumstance at all. I'm not a victim of the world I see. What's happening now is what I've done to me, and that includes the good stuff. I'm not a victim of the future, not a victim of the past, not a victim of anything that really doesn't last. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. 'Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. Yeah, I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim, no, of the world I see. I want to welcome you that are tuning in now to A Course in Miracles, A Course in Right Thinking. We're going to talk about trust. We're going to talk about trust. What is trust? How to trust. Trust us. Trust us. I'm not a victim of the North. I'm not a victim of the South. Not a victim of anything. So what comes out my mouth, I'm not a victim, yeah, of the world I see. 'Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. What's happening? I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm a victim of the world I see. So there's one thing we mustn't forget. You don't have to believe this, you don't have to believe this, you don't have to accept this, you don't have to believe this, you don't have to believe this, you don't have to believe this, accept this, or welcome this. Some of this you might actively resist, some of this you might actively resist, some of the things you hear in the Course in Miracles, you may actively resist. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause I've been down. He what I done to mine. That's Brother John Christmas at johnchristmas.com. johnchristmas.com. And you can download that music from A Course in Miracles for free. Okay, I'm going to do, welcome to A Course in Miracles. Those of you online, those of you in the room. It's so good to see these beings here in their very beautiful communication devices. Outstanding communication devices. Matter of fact, that's why I'm having to let go of my belief in sin. I've had a lot of thoughts about these communication devices in my life. Thank God the Course told me I was innocent. Y'all know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're going to be on, that's right, lesson 81. Remember, you don't have to believe it. You might resist it. Some of it might startle you. This is not a course on analyzing. This is not a course on analyzing the Course, man. I see myself as a divine repetition teacher, your remembering coach. The Course in Miracles, it says over and over again, remember, don't forget. Remember, don't forget. Remember. And what is the main thing we tend to do after we read the Course in Miracles? We forget it. Right. So my focus is on remembering, because then if I'm remembering the instructions, I have a much better success rate at actually following them. It's weird. I actually hear them. Right. Okay. So we're going to do, I trust my brothers who are one with me. So when I do this meditation, it's going to take about 5 minutes, and it's going to bring us up to where we were last week. And I'm going to do it in plain language in the way the Course asks us to do it. So I'd like you to close your eyes. I'd like you to just close your eyes for a moment. Sit comfortable in whatever position works for you. Okay? Trusting your brothers is essential in establishing and holding up your faith and your ability to transcend doubt and lack of sure conviction in yourself. So you have to learn to look beyond another person's errors, another person's ego. Perception has a focus. And it's your focus that gives consistency to what you see, is your focus. But if you change your focus, what you see will change. If you change your focus, what you see will change. If you change your focus, what you see will change. And your vision is going to support that new way of seeing things. So you have to remove your focus off the person's mistakes, and then you will experience peace. You have to have faith. You must have faith in your innocence. You must have faith in your innocence. You must have faith in your innocence. Because when you focus on somebody else's mistakes, somebody else's guilt, it makes you focus on your own. So the more you focus on the flaws, the imperfections, the things that you are upset about another person, what you see in another person, it's going to make you see all those things within yourself. And you won't see the innocence beyond your perception of their guilt. You won't see their innocence beyond your perception of their guilt. And you won't see your innocence beyond the perception of their guilt. So you have to let go of your little focuses, you little cute little focuses. You have to learn how to let go of your focuses. Yeah. And that's going to give way to your need to see the innocence. So instruct your mind that you want to see innocence. Instruct your mind that you don't want to see guilt. Let go of your future goals. Let go of your future goals. Let go of your future goals right now. Right now, while we're here, let go of your future goals. Don't think about what you just saw a minute ago, a second ago. Because we're going to focus on changing our intent. We're going to seek each other's innocence and nothing else. Do you know that a main block to your success is you being involved in thinking about your past and future goals? What we are doing here is totally different from what you have been taught. The Course in Miracles is totally different from what you have been taught by the world. The Course in Miracles is very different from what you've been taught by the world. And you might even have some thoughts that go like this. Even if I should succeed, I'm going to eventually fail again. If I even succeed, I might eventually fail again. It doesn't matter. The past is gone. And you're just imagining your future. If you have fear of the future, it's because you are imagining your future in a fearful way. Are you imagining what could go wrong in your future? Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about what may go wrong in the future? So why are you doing that? Well, when you don't want to change the way you are right now, when you don't want to use the truth that you've been receiving right now, then you think about the past and you think about the future. Because when you think about the past and future, it keeps you from focusing on what you could really be doing right now. So if you don't want to change right now, you can always tell when a person doesn't want to change right now. How can you tell? Because people who don't want to change right now are always thinking about what's going to happen in the future. And people who don't want to change right now constantly think about what happened to them in the past. Do you know we have to stop looking to our past beliefs? We're going to enter in a time of practicing with one intent. Take a breath right now. Take a breath right now. This is what you want. There's some chairs in there, right behind you. So I'm going to say this truth. I trust my brothers who are one with me. I trust my others who are one with me. So we're going to take about I'm going to do about 60 minutes of divine funk healing. It's a very sacred thing. I want you to treat it with the reverence that it deserves. I trust my others who are one with me. I trust trust my brothers who are one with me. I trust others who are one with me. I trust others who are one with me. Now the course says I can help you by doing it for you. So I am going to say what this is saying in my own way. This day, my own way for you. You can remember the truth for everyone. You can remember the truth for everyone. You can bypass their ego. You can bypass their beliefs. You don't have to argue with another person's ego. Just say, I trust others who are one with me. 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 Now we can say that for each other. You know what I'm saying? It goes something like this when you say it for each other. You go, you trust others who are one with you. 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 We trust others who are one with us. 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 You know what the trip is? The trip is, it says, I trust my brothers, which the Course calls an equal. When the Course says brothers, it's talking about equal. So when it says that, it's talking about I trust others who are one with me. I trust who are one with me. I trust who are one with me. Do you know I can only truly, completely trust who is one with me? And so if I'm not feeling one with you, and if you think you're separate from me, if you don't realize we are one, if you don't realize that we are all divine, if you don't realize that everybody in this room is you, if you don't realize everybody in the room is God, then I can't trust you. I'm not trusting you. That doesn't mean I think you're bad. It doesn't mean I think you're guilty. It doesn't mean I think you're sinful. I'm just simply not going to trust you, because you can't trust someone who doesn't know they're one with you. Because someone who doesn't know they're one with you, they're going to be tempted to look out for their own interests ahead of yours. They're going to have a tendency to look out for them before they look out for you. So you can't really 100% trust somebody that thinks that they're separate from God and separate from truth and separate from you. It's not personal. It's just the way it is. So what happens then if I know I can't trust you because you don't remember that you're one with me? Then when you make a mistake and you mistreat me or look like you're mistreating me or somebody else, then I can forgive you faster because I realize you don't realize what you're doing. I know you're not deliberately trying to hurt me. You're just doing what a person does who doesn't know they're one with you. And when someone doesn't know they're one with you, they can sometimes attack you and feel suspicious. Be like us. Let me just cut to the chase. So I love this first sentence that says, this book is so, I love this book so much. It starts out with, I'm used to using my Kindle, because it had, I can put font number 39. I remember when I was font 8. In my 20s, I was in font 8. I got to get rid of this body. It's blocking my sight. Yeah, it's in paragraph 6 on page 338 in lesson 181. He says, read me slowly. So here it goes. He said, we recognize that we have lost this goal of seeing each other's innocence, okay, and recognizing our oneness. How can you tell when you lost this goal? He says, if anger blocks our way. So anytime you're mad, you could go, I lost sight of the goal with you today. I lost sight of the goal with you today. Have you ever felt like that? Right? Anger. Another word, what's the definition of anger? I lost sight of the goal. My goal is peace. I'm mad. I've lost sight of the goal. My goal was peace. I'm mad. So I've lost sight of the goal. So what do? You remember that. What? Because if I remember I've lost sight of the goal whenever I get angry, then I'm going to be willing to let go of the anger faster so that I can continue to achieve my goal of peace. See, that's why the Course says it's about remembering. It's not about analyzing this material. It's about remembering. Whenever I'm mad, I've been had.
I love that.
I know, it's brilliant. God is suing me for fraud. I'm doing copyright infringement of God all the time. I'm always saying stuff that people think is coming from my brilliance and it's coming from the truth. And I'm just letting my body say it. They go, ooh, Earl, really spiritual. Now Earl can get out the way and let spirit use his body to talk to y'all. Earl isn't this much fun. Then he says, go slow. He says, you've lost sight of the goal. Do you know you've lost sight of the goal if anger blocks our way in any form of anger? And if a brother sins, if the thing we're upset about a person occurs to us, then what's happened? When I'm upset with you about something, I'm going to tell you what happened. The first thing you do when you get upset with somebody and you're focusing on what they did wrong with you is narrowing your focus. Okay? Your focus is out here. All of a sudden, I'm narrowing my focus. Okay? Then that restricts my sight because now I'm not seeing anything else except that phone. Right? That's why the whole room is here, but I've narrowed my focus onto the phone. That's what you do when you focus on something about somebody you don't like and you're upset about. You're narrowing your focus on what you see as their sin, their guilt, and what they're doing. Then the Course says, then as soon as you, he said, but when you do that, do you know what that's going to do? He says, when you focus on the other thing that you're narrowing your sight on, that you see as their sin or their guilt or what you're upset about with them, you are also, at the same time, you're going to magnify what you call your so-called sins or mistakes or lacks or guilts. I want to be able to talk about you and get away with it. I'm still trying to figure out how I can do something to somebody else that I'm not going to also have to experience myself. It's like, that's what I like about separation. It means that when you're constipated, I don't feel it. Right, because we're different. We're separate. You got a headache, I don't go, oh my God. Right, I don't really want to join with people as long as they're crazy. I'm telling you I think separation is perfect until you learn how to love and recognize yourself as children of God. I'm glad that until we recognize each other's value, that you in your house and I'm in mine. That's the most peace we can have. I've had more peace with people I've separated from than people I've stayed with. Because they weren't around me to bug me. This truth stuff is simple, y'all. It's not hard. Did you hear when I was going through what it was saying in the meditation? I love that part when it says, really, you could change right now. I don't want you to think about your past. I don't want you to think about your future while you're in this class. I want you to focus on that you could see things different right now. If you don't want to do that, it's because you don't want to let go of the thing you don't like about that person. If I don't want to do what's necessary to change my dislike of you, I must obviously want to keep disliking you. So if I'm not ready to change, I'm going to think about what you did to me, the past, and then I'm going to think about what you might do to me in the future, which keeps me from trusting you now. So the Course is saying, when you focus on something about somebody else that you don't like or you feel makes you feel separate, it didn't just say it's going to make you see it in yourself. Did it also say it was going to also make you magnify your flaws? I used to wonder why I didn't like myself so much sometimes in the past, and I just saw everything that was wrong with me. I spent most of the day focusing on what was wrong with everybody else. Because there was a lot more of them. If black folk was different, if white folk were different, if young folk were different, if old folk were different, if rich people were different, if poor folk. Yeah, it's like all day long I was looking at what about everybody else that I didn't like, that I wish they would change in order to be happy. And I noticed that I was beginning to see my own faults more. And I was wondering where that was coming from. So the Course says, I want you to hear what I'm saying, Course in Miracles students. I want you to hear what I'm saying. Is that all you have to do is hear it. All you have to do is hear it, because you are really sane beings. Do you know you are really completely sane, and everybody you know is? The Course says that the problem is you all just learned lessons that were insane. We had insane lessons, the things we were taught. He says that's where insanity is located. It's located in the way you think. And so people who think insanely attract people who think insanely, and they call it a culture and a society called, us. Right? So then he goes, what do you do to get rid of that? Okay, thanks, Earl, for presenting the problem. How do I get rid of it? Well, just for a little while, this is what I want you to do. What do I want you to do for just a little while? Without regard to past or future. Past means gone, future means not yet. So don't regard the gone, don't regard the not yet. Just for a minute, don't think about what's gone and don't think about what's not yet. Okay, that puts us in the now. So we're going to transcend our blocks. Are you ready? We're going to transcend our blocks. How do we do that? You have to give instruction to your mind. You have to instruct your mind. This is a practical class. This is very practical. You instruct, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm seeing this stuff that's magnifying my flaws and your flaws. How do I get rid of that? Just for a second, Earl, don't think about what they did in the past, and don't think about what you think they may do to you tomorrow at work. I want you to instruct your mind to do what? Change your focus. See, I love after doing this 40 years, it's like I'll get ready I'll get ready to look in a way that'll cause me pain. And I program myself to doing these lessons so much for so long. And I'm getting ready, I'm mad either. Change your focus. What? Change your focus, Earl. That's what the boys talk to me. Change your focus. So, focus you. That's right. Next time somebody upset you, go, focus you. That's a new F word. What's a new F word? Focus. I'm mad, I need to change my focus. I feel depressed, I need to change my focus. I feel broke, I need to change my focus. I don't like where I live, I need to change my focus. I don't like how I feel, I need to change my focus. So how do you change your focus? I'm not going to give you a break, and you got to be able to walk out here and say you don't know the way out of hell. You might not choose to take it, but you can't walk away and say I didn't give it to you. By the way, you in hell. In case you were wondering where you're located. First time the Course told me that, I said, oh, that's cold. That's cold. What about the Bahamas? Can't be no Bahamas in hell. Well, ask those people about that when there's a hurricane. What are you doing in a place you could be killed by a hurricane? Why are you in a place you could be killed trying to cross Colfax Avenue? That's what you start to ask yourself when you begin to wake up. What am I doing in a place where I could even accidentally be hurt and those I love around me? That's hell. I like ice cream. But I'm having it in hell, which is where you need ice cream. Where else you think you need ice cream but in hell? That's the proof right there. We love ice cream. And the Course says hell is not a place. Hell is fear. If you're afraid, you're in hell. I want to be around people who will tell the truth. I want to be around people who say, Earl, you know what, brother? I know you're upset, but you really right now, you need to change your focus, and so you need to instruct your mind to change its focus right now. And I want you to say this. What did you want me to say? I want you to say, it's not this that I would look upon. Fed said, what? It's not this I would look upon. It's not this I want to look at. Just put it in plain language. I don't want to look at this. What? I'm angry right now. This is not what I want to see. Your flaws right now, that's not what I want to see. What's depressing me about you, or this, or that, I don't want to see. What do you say? It's not this that I would look upon. I trust my brothers, which is the same as saying, I trust my equals. I trust those who are one with me, right? I trust those who are one with me. So when you go, I don't want to look at this. I trust those who are one with me. I don't want to look at this. I trust those who are joined with me, who are equal with me, who are connected with me. I trust. So you just said the truth. I don't want to look at this. And then what's the second part? You reminded me of my goal. My goal is to trust, and my goal is to trust the ones who are one with me. So I remembered my goal, and I asked for what I really wanted to see at the same time. Because the minute I said I don't want to look at what's upsetting me, that was the same as saying I trust what's one with me. That's what I really trust. And I'm angry right now with you, so that means that I'm not feeling one with you right now, which means most of what I'm going to tell myself about you right now is distorted and not true. So I don't want to try to talk about this where I'm upset because I'm not seeing the real person in front of me. I'm seeing the magnifier of sins. I'm seeing the you that's up, that I'm making myself really upset and angry about. Okay. Okay, y'all understand? Y'all with me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't know. It's funny, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm a channeler, but they always said, you know, of cable vision. Okay, so it says, use this thought to keep us safe. So I'm asking how I should be safe. He says, well, the way that you become safe is you use the thoughts that I'm giving you. You will be safe if you use the thoughts I'm giving you. How do you know that won't work if you never use the thoughts I've given you? And do you know if you never even said them one time, how do you know this wouldn't work? If you haven't ever really tried it with any kind of consistency, how do you know it wouldn't work? It just couldn't be that simple. Yes, it could. I don't want to look at what I'm upset with right now, and I trust who's one with me. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to understand it. Gravity doesn't care what mood you're in the morning. And gravity doesn't care whether you believe in it or not. It's going to operate regardless because it's the truth of this plane. You have to learn to look at love the same way. You have to learn to look at your abundance the same way. It's just what's yours. It doesn't matter whether you believe it's there or you let yourself have it or you get rid of the blocks that you got to having the happiness and the peace. That's up to you. That's part of your work, but you got somebody to help you do that if you listen to them. You know, so I'm listening to what Spirit say, yeah, look, let me tell you something. Like you go, look, all you got to do is say, I don't want to look at this, and I trust others who are one with me. It says, and we're going to use this thought to keep us safe throughout the day. So what is it you need to stop seeking for? He says, we do not seek for long-range goals. What? Stop seeking long-range goals in regard to your peace. I'm not talking about you to die to be a doctor, you have to go to school. I'm talking about your goals, right? So the Course in Miracles says, first I'm going to give you the thought that would make you safe, which is, it's not this I want to look upon, I trust my brothers who are one with me. The next thing I want you to do is stop thinking about long-range peace goals, long-range trust goals. What do? He says, well, as each obstruction seems to block your vision, when you're ready to go off on somebody because of something you think they've done to you, I'm a translator. He says, as each obstruction seems to block the vision of our innocence, because when I'm magnifying about what I think you're guilty about, my vision certainly isn't looking at what's innocent about you. So we're going to seek but for surcease and instant from what? Misery. Where does your misery come from? Where does misery come from? Misery comes from you focusing on everything that makes you miserable. What? 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 You're miserable because you have miserable thoughts. You have thoughts of misery. That's where you're misery. You're angry, you have thoughts of anger. You're depressed, you get thoughts of depression. You're happy, you have happy thoughts. The truth is, you have to stop an instant from the misery that's coming to you because you're focusing upon the other person's sins and gifts. And if uncorrected, it will remain. So how long will you keep feeling unhappy? As long as you keep the cause of your unhappiness uncorrected. So stop asking for fantasies. Because when you ask for a fantasy, you're asking for something that doesn't exist now. And if it doesn't exist now, it doesn't exist. So stop asking for fantasies, because what we're looking for is really there. You don't have to fantasize about what it would be like to have a relationship with a person that loves and appreciates you. You could have a relationship with someone that loves and appreciates you right now. So then you won't be fantasizing about it because you actually have one. I was like, that's what the Spirit talks to me. That's what the same man talks. Like, that makes sense. Why should I want an imaginary ice cream cone when I could have one right there in my hand? So he says, stop asking for fantasies, because what you're looking for is really there. That peace you want, that trust you want, that connection you want, that happiness you want, it's really here. Okay, then what else did it say? Here's the catch. As our focus goes beyond mistakes. Here we go again. You mean I got to stop focusing on your ego? I got to stop focusing on what I think you've done to me. I got to stop focusing on your mistakes. I got to stop focusing on your mistakes. And then what the love that I really have been fantasizing about, he says, then you'll see it. Everything y'all been praying about, while you're focused on this, you're not seeing that. But while you're focusing on this, you also are not seeing that. Until I did what? Change my focus. But there was that in-between state where it was blurry before I had to actually change my focus, right? So you may be in the transition of changing your mind and feel disoriented and confused, which is a very high state. Confusion is a very high state. So based on that, I am one of the highest spiritual beings that ever existed. Call me Cy Bubba. What's going to happen when you look beyond my mistakes? What's going to happen when you look beyond the thing that's making you unhappy? We said, well, then you're going to see a totally innocent world. You'll see a totally innocent person. You'll see a totally innocent circumstance. Did you see what's happening? We're being told step by step how to see what would make us happy. The reason why I don't really tune into it, because he's not giving me my plan. So since God's giving me God's plan and not giving me my plan, which is, you want to know what my plan is? If all of you changed, I would be happy. The Course says that's our plan. If my job changed, I'd be happy. If people spoke to me differently, I'd be happy. If I was in another place, I'd be happy. If I lost some weight, I'd be happy. If my breath was better, I'd be happy. The Course says, that's what the Course calls our plan. Our plan is everything around me that needs to shift, change, alter, or become some other way, act out my script in order for me to feel happy. Hit the lottery. I had to get that $1 billion last night, and I'd be happy. See, whenever you attribute your happiness to anything outside of yourself, you always are depowering yourself. When you want what you want to depend on something outside yourself, you lost control over having it. So I've been trying to overcome my desire to control other people. Because first of all, I was honestly willing to assess the result of my attempts. And I had failed miserably. But I was always making my happiness dependent on somebody else, so it made me focus on what it is they were doing that made me unhappy. So then I would be magnifying my own mistakes. And he says, and when you focus on someone's mistakes, you won't see the innocence and the love that's there. Okay, so that explains that. But here's the next part of the sentence, which is a trip, because it's going to tell you exactly how to see your happiness and your joy and your peace all the time. Is that worthwhile to listen to? Y'all want to hear how you can be happy all the time? It says it right here. When seeing this is all we want to see. When love is the only thing I want, it will be the only thing I see. If I want nothing but love in my life from everybody, I have to want only love in my life from everybody. There can't be no exceptions, because any exception in my love creates a gap that fear can come through. Course in Miracles says, oh, when y'all are angry and upset and afraid, oh, you're just experiencing a love gap. That's going to be the name of my band. Love gap has many meanings that I will not elaborate on in this class. Okay. When love and seeing my innocence is the only thing you want to see in me, that's the only thing you're going to see in me. When all you want to see in me is the good, then that's what you'll see in me. If you believe there's good and bad in me, then you're going to see good and bad in me. That's just too simple. Why do I see good and bad? Because I don't want to only see the good in that person. As a matter of fact, I don't even believe the only good is there. I think that bad, you're being nice right now, but later on, right in the back. Okay. Yeah, I think this sounds better. That was good, wasn't it? Like I said, it's a simple operation. He says, when seeing this is all we want to see, when this is all we seek, what is the only thing I want is to see your innocence and to see your joy and to see your peace and to see your, that's all I want for you all. That's all. He says, when that's the only thing you want, he says, and you're going to want that in the name of true perception. In the name of true perception, in the name of loving perception, in the name of loving perception, the only thing I want to see in you all is the good. In the name of having a loving perception, because I want to have a loving perception, the only thing I want to see in any of you are your good and what's good about you. I never, how many times have you consciously done that? Go, all I want to see in this person right now is the good about them. How many times have you actually asked for that? I haven't done that many times. Have you actually consciously asked to see it, right? And only that. Only that. Then what else the Course says? That he says, that's when the eyes of Christ, and let's get the Christ part right. The Course in Miracles says Christ is simply your true self, the one self we all share. So when it says Christ, is talking about the loving us, the loving self that we are. So the Course says, then if you want to have the eyes of your loving self, if you want to have the eyes of the you that sees only abundance and love, if you want to have those kind of eyes, we were just told, what you do is you say, the only thing that I want to see in you is the good in you and your innocence. How do I know this doesn't work? I haven't tried this consistently. It never even occurred to me to say that about y'all. It's so funny, I think everything ought to be loving me. I've been selfish and I've been angry and I've been projected in my life and thinking I'm separate from other people and not trusting and broken into by periods in which we go to the prom. Have you ever done that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's amazing life treats me as well as it does. Sometimes I feel like I'm getting away with something. Really, it's like, I'm receiving much more love than I deserve. And they're going to catch up with me one day. That's what I've been feeling for decades. People have been so loving and nice to me since I got in the Course in Miracles. My God. How either they can't see, or they're seeing something in me that I don't see in myself that's bringing joy to them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if everybody around you happy and you miserable, then there's something in you that brings joy to them that you are disassociating from in yourself. And he said, well, then if you focus on everybody else's flaws, then it's going to magnify that sense that you are not deserving. But the real part of you is giving up the love even when the other part of you is being crazy. There are two yous. One you is cool, and it's loving, and it's giving, and it's strong, and it has faith, and it's connected to God. And it will never, ever, ever, ever judge you, condemn you, or hurt you in any way, or anybody else. That's a real part of you, but it's over here. It's hidden. The Course called it, it's hidden. I realize it's literally saying that. You're hiding from yourself. Yourself is nicer than you. Yourself is more loving than you are now, until you identify with that self. One day you're going to identify with that self, and then you're going to be that loving self. But right now, it's a rumor you're hearing. In the meantime, where my mace? The truth students have a mace of 45 and an affirmation. Affirmation mace of 45. I'm open carrying, and I'm a child of God. He said one day you're going to laugh so hard. He says, the Course says, our entire reality, it says, is a joke we forgot to laugh at. He said, what y'all going through? What, pray to me for what? That? What you thinking you could be separate from me and be guilty and hurt each other and all this stuff y'all going through? That's a joke that you forgot to laugh at and took it as a serious idea. And the minute you took it as a serious idea that could be done, you saw it, because you are a creator and you create through your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions and your beliefs. So whatever you focus on, you're going to create it for yourself. So this is a joke. You all are taking this much too seriously. And so that's why you keep having serious stuff coming down, and you've forgotten that you're one with each other, and you got this dumb belief in separation, guilt, and sin. Besides that, you're doing it. And so the Course then says, and the love your true self feels for you becomes your love also. I want the love you feel for me to become my love. What? I want the love you all feel for me to become my own. I want to be able to feel the love you feel for me. I want to feel. I don't want to just you telling me you love. I love you, Earl. No, I want to feel the love you have for me and claim it as my own. Woo! And he says, when you let yourself feel the love that God has for you, and then that love becomes your love, then it becomes the only thing you see reflected in the world. So how do you only see the love and the happiness being reflected to you in the world? When you allow yourself to feel the love that's being given you. But if I don't trust you, you can be loving the stew out of me, and I won't even know it, because I won't be accepting the love as my own. So then I don't see it reflected to me in my world. So first I have to be willing to feel the love you have for me as my own. See, notice the Course in Miracles is giving you step by step how to be happy. But it's not something I thought of. And the doggone thing I'm reading right now, something I thought of. I already have come up with my solution. If you all change, I'd be happy. And my plan is to use my mind to come up with ways to figure out how you need to change in order for me to be happy. There are books on the subject. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what you're trying to do. Just help yourself. That's why it's called self-help. It's self-help book, yeah, because it's teaching you how to just help yourself. It's all about you. Yes, isn't that the way it's supposed to be? So then when you let that love be reflected to you because you finally accepted it as your own, then you start seeing the love and the happiness and the joy being reflected to you from everybody around you. And guess where else you see that love being reflected from? In yourself. All of a sudden, you just walk by the mirror and you go, whoa! Whoa! And that body isn't even me. I'm the most handsome, invisible presence ever created. I don't see a flaw in my invisibility. you're invisible, how can you have a pimple? Okay, that's deep, baby. So the Course then says, then the world that used to proclaim your sins and guilt, this world is going to become the proof that you are sinless. This world is going to prove it. Anytime you even try to think you're not enough or you're guilty or you're bad, say the world, no. I'm going to keep reminding you that you are loved, loving, and lovable. You're going to be in a world that not only reflects the love back to you that you accepted as your own because you really stopped wanting to focus on someone's sins and said it was something that you want to see beside their guilt, which allowed you to look past the problem you was having to them to the sinlessness that was beyond that. And all of a sudden, all you wanted was that love and that peace. And since that was all you wanted, then you all of a sudden had the eyes of love. And since you had the eyes of love, then you could finally start let yourself really receive all that love that God and everybody around you is giving you. And you claim it as your own, and so you start seeing that love being reflected to you from everybody around you, and all of a sudden your world wouldn't let you feel guilty or bad if you wanted to. How would that be like, to be in a world where all people wanted to do was protect you feeling good about yourself and loving yourself? That's all they wanted for you. So you have to conceive of ideas before they can be created. If everything comes from an idea, we need some fresh ideas. Mm-hmm. Now I see what people meant when they called me fresh. Aren't you tired of being stale in hell? Doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over. You know, getting ready to start tomorrow. Right back on the loop. Mm-hmm. Get ready to start the loop again. We do Groundhog Day every day, every week. That's why you know what's going to happen to you tomorrow. You've been doing it for years. Makes sense. You're not psychic. You just remember what you've been doing all the time. That's funny. I'm psychic. I predicted Monday is going to appear tomorrow. Of course it will. It's done it countless times. That's why you can predict the future, is because you know you're just repeating your past all the time. You know you're just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again in different ways. So the Course says, now he says, he keeps on telling you the good stuff that's going to happen. Oh my God. I didn't realize it was that late. Wow, okay. And how do you know when you really begin to get in touch with the part of you that knows no sin and knows that it's only perfect and innocent? How can you tell when you finally get in touch with your real self that doesn't know that there's anything wrong with you, that self that absolutely knows you are perfection? How do you know that you are remembering yourself? He says, because you're going to feel love for everybody you look at. How can I tell when I finally tapped into real Earl? Real Earl loves everybody he looks at. See, this book is telling me, let me share with you what real Earl is like and what unreal Earl is like. And I want you to teach you the difference between real Earl and the Earl that's not your real self. The Earl that's not your real self thinks he's separate from everybody and believes in grievances, and he believes that he's a victim and things can happen to him and he's a body that's going to die one day. The false Earl totally believes in everything that the world teaches. But there's a real you, and I got to teach you how to get from the unreal you to the real you, and you have a teacher in between that called the Holy Spirit who's going to teach you how to move from your fearful self to your loving self, from your broke self to your rich self. But you need a teacher. He says, resign as your own teacher. He says, which you will surely do if you honestly assess the results of what you taught yourself. He says, and so in the last paragraph, somebody that loves you can't even conceive of you being guilty and bad. That's what someone who loves you cannot even conceive of you being sinful and guilty. And so we are seeking to remember that we are not guilty, that we are loved, that we are whole, that we are free, right? We're seeking to remember that, right? We're seeking to remember that we are perfect and whole and loved and abundant. Right. We really, that's all we want. Right. Then you have to turn your minds. What? You have to turn your mind. Turn your mind to what? Practicing. I knew it was a catch. I knew there was a catch in this whole deal. He says, practice, but now it's like practicing. Let's say it together. It's time to practicing. Right? Practicing. It's like now you got to make practicing become enticing. I want to do this. Because every time I do this, I experience that love and I see that beauty in people beyond the mistakes that I saw in them that makes me just feel the love finally that they've given me. And then it makes me want to give that love to them. And then he says, we're going to look neither ahead nor backwards. If you're not looking ahead and if you're not looking backwards, where are you looking? You're going to look straight. Straight where? Into right now. You can use your memory to remember right now. You can use your memory. I know you're using your memory to remember the past and you're using your memory to think about the future, but you could use your memory to remember to be right now, that we are here right now, that we can practice changing our focuses right now. And he says, and then what do? He says, I want you to give your trust to the experience that you're asking for. What? Start trusting the experiences that you're asking for. You're asking for the experience of joy. Start trusting joy. I want you to start to trust. It's not about trusting ego people and people who don't know the truth. I want you to trust what you're asking for. If you're asking for peace and love and innocence and sinlessness and abundance, trust that you're going to have that experience you're asking for. Don't ask for things that you don't have trust about receiving. So how do you get the trust? Trust the experience that you're asking for. And what is the experience that we're asking for? It says, well, the experience, whether you know it or not, the experience that you're asking for is the experience of sinlessness. You're asking for the experience of being guilt-free. You're really asking for because the mind that is guilt-free is the mind that never suffers and never lacks anything. Yeah. So if I could help you remember you're innocent, that's the most loving thing I could ever do for you. Because the more you recognize your innocence, the more you're going to treat yourself in a loving, caring way. And you won't allow anybody to abuse you in any way. If you think you're guilty, you're going to ask for punishment. And then punishment is going to come to you in the form of some sickness or upset, a horrible relationship, or fear or guilt. This is the reflection of the guilt that you think you see within yourself. So the more I can help you remember how innocent you are, the more I'm protecting you. That's what I used to think about when my children were really young. I said, well, the best thing I can do, since I can't be with them all the time in the physical body, was to always remind them of their innocence no matter what. And so they made it through childhood safely. Because, if your innocence and my innocence is the only thing that we want to see, then that's when our will and the will of God, which is the will of love, are joined. So your Creator loves you unconditionally and only wants perfect love and joy and happiness for you. And finally, that's what you want for you too. Okay. All right, I'm gonna do a quick little. Yes. Oh yeah, be sure to sign the list so I can let you know when I'm not here. I'll email you and stuff like that to let you know if you haven't had a chance to sign it. Okay, so there's one little thing I'm gonna do at the end, so it's gonna go like 5 minutes over to kind of bring this all together. I am a full-time teacher of the course in miracles, and if you'd like to make a donation, I would greatly appreciate that so much. If you want to do that online, if you want to do that online, just go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com, and I'm going to make it even easier. You can use Zelle or Venmo or the Cash App,
You got everything.
or PayPal, and Bubba over there at 3rd and Pennsylvania. Thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for sharing with yourself. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you that, like I say, that which created me. I want to thank that which created us. I am available for one-on-one sessions, mentoring, coaching, counseling, using the Course in Miracles to give you the solutions that it offers for anything that you think you're going through. It's nothing you can tell me you're going through that's not covered in this book and how to look at it. So I'm available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions. Those of you who are open into the realm of the intuitive, astrology, and numerology, I've been a professional astrologer and numerologist for over 4 decades. For those who are open-minded to that type of way of receiving information through spirit, then also go to my website, earlpurdy.com. You can self-book a session with me right from my website. On the Earl Purdy page on Facebook on Sunday, we do A Course in Miracles, which is this class we're having right now. 1 p.m. Mountain Time on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. I'm so glad and so thankful that you're here. And if you're in the Denver area and you want to attend in person, it's 1 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time at 1555 Race Street. 1555 Race Street. 1555 Race Street. And Thursdays I do hardcore Course in Miracles for Course in Miracles students. Hardcore course I call it. And 7 p.m. Mountain Time every Thursday on Facebook Live on the Earl Purdy page. And got hundreds and hundreds of videos on my website, on YouTube, and on Facebook. The reason why I'm saying that is I want to give everything that I have to give. I want to be a channel for love and healing and sanity to come through this planet. And I'm no longer waiting for anybody else to do it. Because the Course teaches me that everybody's waiting for me. It was just funny that I'm the last one. That if I change my mind, everybody be saved. It put a little pressure on me. Said I was needed for the salvation and healing of the world. And the truth is that's true about everybody. Do you know that when you change your mind, which is our mind, right, the whole thing's going to change. See, we've been doing it the other way. We've been waiting for everybody else's mind to change. Think about it. We really patiently waiting for everybody else to somehow start changing. So the Course has the audacity to say, no, it's just one mind. So when you change it, by changing yours, you're going to see just the opposite of the world you're looking at. You're going to see a world of total love and bliss replace the one you see that's full of fear and COVID and everything else that you tell yourself is going on. It says I know you don't know that because nobody teaches you that because you still think you're separate. But the truth is, everybody's waiting for you. As soon as you are ready to be happy, then everybody will be. We're waiting for you to want to be happy, and that's all you want. And the only thing you want is love, and nothing but love, and nothing. But we're waiting for that to be the only thing you want. And when it's the only thing you want, it'll be the only thing you see. And until it's the only thing you see, it's not the only thing you want. You work back from what you see to what you believe. You want to know what you believe? Start with your feelings and work back. Because you want to get in touch with your beliefs. So the truth is, this is a lot simpler than you're making it. And one day you're going to be so advanced. How advanced is that? You're going to be so advanced, you're going to let Spirit do everything for you. And then what would be my job? To receive it and extend it. Okay, take a breath, 1 minute, and we'll be able to rush out and make more errors to forgive. Stop asking for fantasies. Stop asking for fantasies. Listen, 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 listen. There's a love that God feels for you, and it's going to become your own. And then when love is all you want, and peace is all you want, and happiness is all you want, it's going to be the only thing that you see reflected in the world to you. And the world that used to proclaim your guilt is now going to proclaim your innocence. The world that used to try to convince you that you were not enough or that you were in danger, that world is going to be a world that proves to you that you are loved. Everyone you see is going to prove to you that you are valuable and loved. Everyone that you meet, they're going to prove to you that you are valuable and loved. You're going to be in a world that you are going to be totally safe in. You got to instruct your mind. Instruct your mind. Tell your mind, it's not this that I would look upon. I trust who are one with me. It is not this I would look upon. I trust others who are, all you have to do is say it. It doesn't mean that you have to believe it, accept it, or welcome it. Just say it. You don't have to understand this for it to work. You just have to say it. If you will say what the Course in Miracles is telling you to say, if you will say what the truth is telling you to say, that's symbolic of your willingness for Spirit to heal you. You are not the healer. 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 You are not going to make yourself happy. You are not going to be able to make yourself happy. Do you know why? Because you don't love yourself enough to be in charge of that process. Do you know life and Spirit wants to give you more love than you think that you deserve right now? Life wants to give you more blessings and more love than a part of you may think you deserve right now. And I'm reminding you right now that you are destined. You are destined to be happy and fulfilled. Mighty companion, watch this at least 4 times. Because repetition is how we remember is how it changes. It felt so good to let sanity come through my body. I'm a little bit reluctant to let the old insanity come on back in. So every time I do this, a little less insanity returns and more sanity returns. It's funny to watch it because who definitely heard what came through me? Me. So I thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be my true self with you before I go back into my false self. But the false self, he's trying to be more loving than he used to be, right? It's like it's not the same percentage that it used to be. And we'll be honest with ourselves. We got more sanity than we have ever had before. Because what I'm learning is that as I learn to love more and hear what this is saying, the main person I need to forgive and see differently is me. I find instead of me trying to figure out how to forgive everybody else, it's like, no, actually, I can see the things that I did that I could have done better and differently. So I understand this book is teaching me how to forgive myself for what I didn't do. What do you mean what I didn't do? Yeah, I didn't do enough love. I didn't do enough truth. I didn't do enough patience. I didn't do enough. Right, I am forgiving you for what you didn't do and I didn't do. Yeah. So hugs are available for those who dare. And thank you so much for coming. I love you, all of y'all. Love all of y'all. Oh, yes. Yes. Stop! No! Oh, I'm getting heart emojis all over the screen. Oh, Lord, have mercy.